What's up, everybody? It's been a while since I've talked about Spider-Man Brand New Day here on the channel, but we got an exciting wave of both official and unofficial updates. Don't worry, I'll make sure you know which is official and unofficial as we go through the video, but all of these things, they kind of really started to put this movie into perspective for me. We're getting a ton of villains in this movie, some new, some returning, some are going to be in the movie a ton, some are just going to be in a montage to get things going. But with this information and what seems to be a new official plot synopsis, it all helped me put the pieces together for this For Spidey installment. Let's dive in. Before I get to the story and start plugging pieces in where I see them fitting, I want to go over the pieces, the villains that are confirmed to appear, and those that are rumored to appear. So, we'll start with the list, and then I'll get into what we could see from some of them in this movie. I think Destin Daniel Cretton's cooking once again. First on our list today is Matt Gargan, the Scorpion. He's the only one that I didn't love the look that we saw. If it was real, of course, we saw like 3 or 4 leaked looks at villains in this movie, but I will say they could still save it. If there was VFX or even practical lighting that wasn't in that picture and is in the movie, like the tail has a green glow of sorts to it, that would be a game changer for me for the character's design. Next up is Tombstone, another where we saw what he looks like in the MCU, and this one I loved. I'm just excited to see Marvin Jones III in this role. He was the saving grace of that Black Lightning CW series, and if I had to pick a villain to return in the MCU from Spidey 4, it would be him. I don't even need to see him in action, it's him. Then we've got Boomerang, the last of the leaks last week, where their suits were revealed, and honestly, I'm not all that familiar with him. I read that date night comic after I saw that hilarious cover one day. I remember him from, I want to say Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run, but I might be wrong about the author for that run. But with that being said, he did look dope if what we saw wasn't, AI or just fake. It's a cool suit. That brings us to the confirmed villains that weren't part of that recent leak, and this is where my, depending on how you look at it, comes into play. I'll start with the hand though, it doesn't apply to them, and this is the action sequence I'm most excited for in the movie. Thinking about what we saw from the DDC and Shang-Chi, combined with the stunt coordinator from Tom's previous trilogy, we're headed in the right direction, no doubt about it. But the hand is also going to return in Daredevil Born Again Season 3. That's the plan as of right now, at least. Brad Winderbaum, head of Marvel TV, has talked about this a couple of times, and that might be more exciting to me than their fight in Spidey 4. This continues to form those wider street level ties in the universe, and it does so with Spider-Man involved, with him at the center of it, despite Sony being Sony. Jokes aside, well, actually, that wasn't a joke. Sony's live action Spider-Verse is dog shit, but regardless, William Metzger and his DODC will be a foe for Peter here too. Tremel Tillman, he's going to be Metzger, and I'm assuming, despite their history in the home trilogy, not Metzger and Spider-Man, of course, but Spider-Man and the DODC, that they're going to be after Spidey because he helped Sadie Singh's character and not because of that history. Then our final villain is the Hulk, and that's the one where I say, whichever way you want to look at it, he could be a villain, he could just be a pawn in this chess matchup. But he is going to go savage again in Brand New Day, and Marvel Studios has wanted to have him as a villain in one of their movies for 15 years. Let me repeat myself, 15 years since they first planned for him to be the villain of the first Avengers movie, and this could very well be how Feige, makes that happen before his time as a big man on campus is over. From there, I've got a few rumored villains that fill out the massive lineup coming to the big screen from his rogues gallery. You've got Ramrod, and I won't lie, this would be 10 times cooler with the Daredevil team up. That's one of, if not his first comic appearances, Spidey, Daredevil, and Black Widow fighting him, but I digress. Maybe it opens that door for the future. I got to see some Spidey and Daredevil in the MCU while Matt and Peter are still around. Spidey and Deadpool 2, thanks in advance. Then we've got an interesting one, maybe interesting in a bad way, and that's Tarantula. Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus outlet had his monthly Q&A, and he mentioned something that I didn't see all too positively. He said that he hopes a villain from a massively unpopular 90s story doesn't have a major role in Brand New Day, and so I got the tinfoil out to link that to Clone Conspiracy. He even fights Spidey and Punisher together in that run, but let me know if you think of something else that fits with another villain down in the comments below. Anyways, next up is 8 Ball, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that he's working for and or with Scorpion in Spidey 4. With this guy, I'm really only interested in one thing. I want to see if they adapt his pool cue into live action. It's such a cool and unique weapon, and it fascinates me as to how they could get that done. It's one of those things that, I think it really helps fans like some of these lower tier villains. But getting to some X-Men villains now, interestingly enough, there was an old rumor that Silver Samurai and the Viper were going to be in this movie. Now, at first glance, that makes no sense at all. However, when you think about them coming as a duo so often, I mean, they're an iconic duo in the comics, they've got deep ties, and then Viper's ties to the hand also, you start to see where, maybe they could have found some inspiration to put them up against Spidey and maybe an X-Man. Finally, we've got Shathra, and I've got heavy doubts on the Spider-Wasp of the Astral Plane showing up in this one. It was rumored that this was who Sadie Sink was going to be in the movie, but like Mr. Negative, that did not pan out, and it was really the DODC's involvement that shut this down for me personally. They could handle it, or I guess try to, but it's basically set in stone that she's going to be the MCU's Jean Grey, and if she is, that gives that Silver Samurai and Viper rumor a ton of credibility to me. With all that being said, and kept in mind, let's get to our new plot synopsis that I think gives us the most information about this movie yet, and it reads, 4 years have gone by since we last caught up with our friendly neighborhood hero. Peter Parker is no more, but Spider-Man is at the top of his game, keeping New York City safe. Things are going well for our anonymous hero until an unusual trail of crimes pulls him into a web of mystery larger than he's ever faced before. In order to take on what's ahead, Spider-Man not only needs to be at the top of his physical and mental game, but he must also be prepared to face the repercussions of his past. I want to break that up into 3 sections because it just paints the picture. The first 2 sentences line up with what Destin Daniel Cretton, the DDC, has said in the past. Peter's lost himself in wall crawling, and we're going to see that in the opening montage that Alex Perez has reported on. It's Spidey versus his rogues. That's where some of those who we talked about will appear in the movie, and I think it's going to work incredibly well for both the time jump and showing the curse of Peter Parker. Then we got into the struggle, got into the story a tiny bit, and as I read this third sentence, I just started plugging villains in to the general description. I think this is either Tombstone alone that halts Spidey's success, or, and this could be amazing, it's Tombstone and the Hand going after the same thing in the city. I don't know what that could be. Maybe Tombstone has the benefactor that can't be named and that has history with the Hand, and maybe they're back in the city just to make his time as mayor terrible. Maybe, just maybe, but in all seriousness, I do think that's a possibility. Regardless, the final sentence might have been the richest part because I felt like it confirmed a rumor and hit us with a misdirect. The confirmed rumor would be Claire Temple, the night nurse, appearing in the movie to save Spidey's life after Frank brings him to her door. I think just the simple thing of Pete being taken care of again is going to trigger some demons for him, demons that Spider-Man had been keeping away. As far as the misdirect goes, the past coming back to haunt him set my alarms off. I think the obvious thing is something, from the multiverse after No Way Home, and since we're nearing the end of the multiverse saga, which, cover your ears for this part, you're not allowed to hear it, that does kind of point towards Shathra, but guess what? She's still not in it because that's a misdirect. You're supposed to jump to that conclusion. Maybe it could be Scorpion. He of course asked for Spidey's identity when he was in prison with the Vulture because Pete put both of them in there, but I actually think it's something else from Homecoming and No Way Home for that matter, damage control. Like in a movie where we're probably going to see the evolution from web shooters to organic webbing, it feels as though he's going to be the DODC's #1 target, and they can use that warehouse footage from Homecoming to push their narrative full J. Jonah Jameson style. Hell, maybe he even runs their story just to get J.K. Simmons back once again. Let's do it. At the end of the day, I'm so damn excited for this movie, from the new vision, from the DDC, to the villains involved, to the Savage Hulk, to the Spidey Punisher team-up, and Sadie Sink's MCU debut. It's got so much going for it, and I'd even say, without a doubt in my mind, this is way above Doomsday in terms of hype for me personally, and that could change of course, but right now, that's the way she'd be going. And so that's going to do it for today's video. I want to know which are the rumored villains you want to see in the movie, as well as who you think Sadie Sink is portraying, so let me know down in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed today's video, smash that like button on your way out, and make sure you have a great day.